So now Michael's going to tell us a little bit about how he's incorporated multimedia into his work mode so that it's not something to even think about. It just happens automatically. So.
Automatically? No.
Automatically. Or seeming to be automatic.
Better. There you go. Good afternoon. Hi. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm Michael Roy. I'm the executive editor of the American Journal of Psychiatry and the editorial director of the journals of American Psychiatric Association Publishing. And if I could establish the framework of my talk, you see it's Mind Your P's. It's from Mind Your P's and Q's. And as I was preparing for this talk, I was looking for the origin of this, and there's actually competing stories behind this statement. You have one theory that it's pub bartenders saying, mind your pints and quarts, and I just can't imagine people drinking quarts of alcohol, but okay. There's also the monks with block type, making sure that you don't mistake P's and Q's for P's. There's also the mind your manners theory, which is the P's are pleases and Q's are your thank yous. I think that's a stretch. Really, all of those, if you dig a little deeper, none of those are really true. The origin of this statement is still quite unknown, and I'm going to take advantage of that ambiguity. And since I found this clip art of 4 pint glasses to represent the 4 stages of the submission cycle, that's what we're going with. And away we go. So the 4 stages of the submission process, and what we're seeking to do is, and what we try to do internally at each stage, and what we're looking to accomplish. So again, I oversee the Journals of American Psychiatric Association Publishing. The American Journal of Psychiatry has been publishing since 1844, so a little bit less time than the New England Journal of Medicine, which is why Jackie got to go first. Psychiatric Services has been around since 1950. We just acquired the American Journal of Psychotherapy, and that started publishing in 1947. The Psychiatric Research and Clinical Practice, the orange, is our new journal, just started this past year. It's our open access journal. And Focus and the Neuropsychiatry Journal have been around for 15 and 30 years, respectively. So we've been in the psychiatric marketplace a long time. We are a respected publisher. People know us. We've done a lot of good work in publishing, but over the past few years, we've kind of noticed we're not really connecting. We're putting it out there, and I don't think anyone was really engaging with our content. It was just out there, and people were forgetting it. And part of this was we had 0 social media presence, and we didn't really have the benefit of a communications office or a press office that were issuing releases on our behalf. And when our business model was driving people to our website, Psychiatry Online, we needed a little bit of help. And we wanted people to see our journals, our authoritative textbooks, our reference manuals. And if no one's getting there, well, I determined that I think we're going to have to do it ourselves. And since I have a very small editorial staff with whom I work, I didn't want to see this face of, sure, we could do that. I knew that we needed to do this in a systematic way. And that was basically coming up with like the 4 stages of the submission process and what we seek to do at each stage. And first stage we have is a pre-submission. And pre-submission, what we're looking to do here is attract authors. And that may seem obvious to you, but really it's not, because I would say that up until a few weeks ago, when people looked at our instructions for authors, they would see things like this and be like, this is not very attractive. We had things like, your references need to be in this style. You need to submit it in this form. Here's all the things you can't do. This is not, we don't want to see this. Nothing was very kind or made us seem very attractive up until a couple weeks ago, where we did an entire site redesign, and part of that changed our information for authors to be author resources, where we're talking more like, you should come publish with us because here are the things that we can do for you in terms of improving your article's discoverability. We partner with TrendMD. We partner with Kudos. We work with Altmetrics. We now do have a social media presence. We do podcasts. We have video. We work now much more closely with APA's communications office with press releases. We can even offer an online release at one of APA's big meetings. So there are definite things that actually give us a competitive advantage over other publishers that we're seeking to exploit. And I want to stop here by saying that the sophistication and the great functionality of the website the credit really goes to people who are either in the room or at this meeting. I saw Michael Pogachar is here, Allison Stiffel I think is at the meeting, and Tim Marney is here. The cleanliness of the design, the functionality, all credit goes to them. My contribution are these amateur hour slides. So you know I'm not really involved in how the site looks. I'm a beneficiary just like everyone else here. So if we've attracted them, and I think we have at this point, the next stage is peer review. And what we seek to do at this stage is be welcoming. And full disclosure, when I created this presentation, that was before, I live in Washington, D.C., and I did not know we were going to be facing Vegas in the Stanley Cup. So I'm very happy that Washington won Game 2 last night, or else I'd be gritting my teeth looking at the screen right here. So everything is fine right now. So what we're seeking to do is welcome people to our website, and obviously we reject about 93% of things that come through us, but one of my side missions is always with our submission process is to try to make it as friendly as possible for people coming through, because with apologies to any representatives of manuscript submission sites, sometimes it's a little burdensome, and so what we try to do, instead of getting past, I like to recycle slides, get it past, this is actually on our first page of the submission site. After we get your name and the title of what you're seeking to submit to us, we're looking, we're starting to promote our partnership with Kudos, article discovery service, where we say, you know what, a plain language summary really increases the discoverability of your content. And we're looking right now, and we actually wrote on our submission site, we put up one of our old abstracts, and we can get really biomedical, we can get really in the weeds, and I defy you, I'm giving you time to look at that first paragraph, and I don't think you're actually determining that that's a negative study. But that 4 lines down below, it's much more clear that neuroinflammation is not actually the cause of schizophrenia that has been proposed. So getting people to think about not just am I going to get accepted, but once they're accepted, how is APA going to work with us to improve discoverability? This is the mindset that we want to be starting at the outset to be more welcoming. And during the peer review process, we've actually added to our boilerplate modify letters and additional invitations to sign up with the Kudos service. You'll get publication stats you'll find about citability, and it'll improve discoverability. And one good way, this is the time to ask for other things. This is when they feel most welcome. It's like, yeah, okay, we've accepted your publication, and now maybe you do want to think of going to Kudos and creating a plain language summary, because now we're really going to be in the process of trying to promote traffic to your article. That brings us to the next stage. We've accepted the article for publication. Now we're in production, and what we're seeking to do here is ask. This is when we can do the most asking of our authors to help us, and that is a picture of my daughter. She is in a one-room schoolhouse in Alexandria, Minnesota, where we went last year for a family reunion. So there's my Midwestern bona fides as we sit here in the crossroads. What we do here, the asking that we do is that this is the time when the authors are really most engaged with their content, because look, they're looking at their proofs, and they're looking very closely. And so we've actually put into our query letters that we're sending along with the proofs, by the way, as you're reviewing and approving the proofs, don't just think, we always have the Kudos discovery service, but we're also saying, think about a two-sentence statement that you can put when we do an electronic publication alerts, because we don't just do e-talks, the bibliographic, here's the title, here are the authors. We do a 2-line summary of what the article's about, because we found that improves click-through rates to the article. So we encourage the authors as the expert people in this area to help us with that 2-sentence. And you know what? Not a bad time to think about a tweet either. We'll take that as well while you're looking at your content. So again, this is a very good time to seek the engagement of the authors. And to recycle another slide, another good time to ask is when we've actually published the article. So, by the way, I know standing here in Chicago, it's not popular to have a Green Bay Packer here, but there's not many slides I could use. So, blame Wicca Commons. So we have, when they get the notice of publication, we do a lot of things that a lot of publishers do. We tell them how to download a PDF of the article, how to get a PDF to their co-authors. We tell them things like put a link to the article in your email signature, put a link to the article in your professional networking sites, SSRN or LinkedIn. Do all that stuff while we're doing our tweeting, while we're working with our publications people, while we're doing our various publicity alerts on your behalf. And then I think This is the part that we're really working on right now, is the fourth P of the submission process is post-publication. And what we seek to do here is remind these authors to stay engaged. Because one of I think the cardinal sins we had committed for a while was publishing and forgetting. And I've very much have often been saying I think we need to keep breathing life into our content and not just publish and forget. And the goal here is to, like, when the articles are published online, there is a point in time downstream when they're going to appear in an issue, and we're going to institutionalize the fact that we're going to have emails that go back to these authors saying, like, return to the website, see how your article is performing in the marketplace of ideas, you know, by looking at the altmetric badge. And guess what? If you don't like your altmetric score, there's a way to help that, and then we bring again the kudos and do the plain language summary. All this is intended to, you see that little nice circle in the middle, is we're trying to create a virtuous cycle. So back when the authors have their next paper, and we know they're going to have a next paper, when they have that next paper, they're going to remember their experience with us not being this. They're going to remember that we were a trusted partner that worked with them throughout the way to help people discover their hard work and their article itself. So I've taken you through the 4 Ps. I'll be happy to take your cues after the speakers, or after this session, or after this conference even. Cheers.
Thank you, Michael. I think you've done a great job of showing how you can keep the authors engaged and actually have them work with you to help promote the content. And I think I would also add that you've done a really good job of bringing in the media as well.